Hello there, my name is Mark Miles and welcome to another video on how to take your presenting and training delivery skills to the next level. So today's topic is about role plays. Now, a lot of times, a lot of presenters, facilitators, trainers in essence really avoid doing role plays. Now, as we've talked about in previous videos, there's generally agreed upon 3 or 4 learning styles that we all know about. There's the visual, the auditory, and the kinesthetic. And what we need to remind ourselves of is that our learners, our audience members, our participants need to have all 3 of those taken care of, right? Because you will typically never have an audience that's all visual learners, that's all auditory learners, that's all kinesthetic learners. But each of those 3 types of learners will actually have specific needs that they need fulfilled if you are ever running a seminar or a workshop. And on a personal level, myself, I am rather auditory and then rather kinesthetic and not so much visual. And I know as a trainer myself, I default to my natural style, which is lots of discussions and lots of activities, and I need to consciously integrate the visual side of things. Now, other trainers may be different. Maybe they are really high on the visual and they do use a lot of PowerPoints and a lot of handouts and different things, but resist on the role plays. They resist on the actual activities. And one thing that I've noticed over the last, say, 10 years of presenting and training is that a lot of people resist doing role plays. And 2 reasons. One, they don't know how to run them properly, or 2, because it's just not their natural delivery style. And I'd like to share with you in this video, ultimately, how you can run them and run them really effectively, because there are people out there that need the role plays. There's people that need to get involved and have a go. There's people that need that it's a core need of them as a learner, that if they don't have an opportunity to practice using it or using the concept that you've just taught them, they're going to walk away feeling depleted, empty, and they've wasted their time, literally wasted their time, and they haven't actually learned anything. Okay, so how do we set them up properly? Role plays, not hard. And we just need to get our communication and the steps to do it very precise and on point. So if I was going to set up a role play, I would do it this way, all right? And this comes from my background in teaching English in Japan for so many years. We needed consistent and regular performance, and we needed to be able to get our learners to be able to perform to a particular standard. So the way that we set up our role plays was very, very, very important, okay? So first thing I would do if I was going to set up a role play is I would take on one role, so role A. So even before that, I would want to set up the scene. I'd want to set up the scene and I'd want to set up the outcome that I would want the 2 role players to actually achieve, right? Now, we need to remember that the purpose of a role play is for people to have a go with doing the thing and using the language. And the outcome, yes, important, but not so much as important as how people actually get there, right? So first thing I want to do is set the scene. So maybe it's a coffee shop, maybe it is a managerial discussion, maybe it is a one-on-one situation with a manager and employee, whatever it might be. So tell them what the scenario is. Then go ahead and tell them what the outcome would ideally look like. But, how well you get there, that's less important than the actual process that people follow, okay? Now, the other thing to remember with a role play, why do we do it? We do it to demonstrate what good performance looks like. People generally fail in life because they don't know what a good job looks like and is not clearly communicated enough. And that can be a massive benefit of a role play. So step number 1, set up the scene. Step 2, lay out the outcome or the ideal outcome. Number 3 is the specific demonstration of what a good job looks like. And let's go into that. So if you're going to set up the role play, you take on role play. So you as a trainer, you take on role play A, and you get a learner or a volunteer to volunteer as part B. You demonstrate to the entire group what that looks like in terms of a good job, in terms of role play A. And the entire group then witnessed you doing role play part A. Then afterwards, you debrief what you did well or what role play A did well, and you maybe even ask the group what was done well. Then you do it again and you swap over. So then you take on role play part B. And then as a result of that, the entire group have seen what a good job looks like for both part A and part B. Then you're going to throw it out to the group and you're going to get the group in pairs, and one person plays the role of part A and one person plays the role of part B. You then, as a facilitator, coach, mentor, trainer, whatever you'd like to call yourself, are listening to everybody's performance and seeing how they are doing. And you are going to give them feedback, okay? And you are going to give them feedback on how well they played that role. And you may listen for particular language that they use, and you're going to affirm what was done extremely well. Then you're going to give them some tips on how they can do it differently, what other things they could add in or take out. Then they have another go on the same role, okay? And they actually implement the feedback that you have just given them. As trainers, what can sometimes happen is people rush through that step and they may not even give people a second go. But it's the second go that makes a lot of the difference because it allows them an opportunity to actually implement what they've just been told. All right. So then the audience are going to have another go at doing that role. And you listen to see if they've taken on the feedback. And then you give them some feedback. Okay. Then yes, you're going to push it again. You get them to do it a third time in that role, okay? Again, do it, and then you listen for the feedback, all right? And now, after that, you get everybody to swap roles. Everybody swaps roles, and now the other person is having a go at role B, other person having a role at role A, and they're having a go at the other role. You're listening to see how well they've taken on the feedback and how everybody is performing. By this time, they have heard, or the audience have heard a number of times what a good job looks like, all right? And you then want to give them a second go at that role. And from that point, you then do an entire class debrief, and you would probably get the audience members themselves individually to self-reflect. And you may ask them questions such as, from that activity, what is the biggest thing that you learned and discovered? That's the first question we want to ask. What is the biggest thing you learned or discovered from that activity? Second question is, going forward, when you encounter that scenario, again, in real life, what is the biggest thing you are going to focus on, and what's the outcome that you want to achieve? And you really want to get your learners to identify that in their own mind, okay? So if we set up a role play like this, where learners have on numerous occasions seen from you and from each other what a good job looks like, there is a much higher probability that they're going to enjoy the role play, they're going to have a good time, and they are actually going to go out and implement those skills that you've taught them, okay? And a role play is not, I'll say this, it is not a scenario on the screen and handing out role play cards to one student to another student and saying, good luck, and then watching the disaster unfold. That is not setting up a role play efficiently, okay? So your ability to effectively model good quality performance makes all the difference, and a learner can sit there or be in the moment and go, all right, cool, I know what's expected of me, and I know how I'm going to perform, and I know how to get closer and closer to the expectations of the trainer and of the scenario if I ever face a scenario out there in the wide world. Okay, so hopefully this video was informative. Hopefully you got something from it. But as a kinesthetic learner myself, so many times I see role plays not set up effectively, and I see many opportunities for role plays to happen, but trainers just not going for it because they are not comfortable in actually setting up activities or setting up role plays to get a consistent outcome. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you've got any questions about setting up role plays or activities, just put in a comment below. But I'm just really passionate about helping people and equipping them with the skills that I wish I knew when I first started out as a trainer and public speaker and presenter. So thanks so much for watching the video, and hope you have an amazing day. Bye for now.